We are live here at the Mon Valley Independent home base for our final exam, so to speak. I am Mon Valley Independent sports editor Jeremy Salou. To my right, your left, staff writer Jose Negro on my right hand in the sports department. Welcome to our, like I said, our final exam before we go live in person at the Foster House on October 31st for our football coaching show. But first, this is our soccer spectacular. We are here to talk about the soccer brackets. The playoffs begin tomorrow.
Yes, they do.
At locally, James Weir Stadium is the most local game. We got the Bell Vernon area girls hosting the doubleheader. The first game at 1 p.m. we have Brownsville taking on, I'm not sure right off the bat who they're taking on.
Quaker Valley.
They will play Quaker Valley, followed by the Leopards and the South Fayette Lions. Welcome to the show. Let's get it started here. We're excited. We added some table ornaments. It started to look like this. Well, we're Star Wars.
You gotta give us Star Wars.
Don't tell me what I bought. But here we go. We're going to get started. You ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Let's do it, man.
Let's go.
All right, it's all fixed up for you.
Oh, well, thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. This is Josh Turkovich from Mon Valley Phone Repair. Shout out to all you student athletes in the Mon Valley. Keep up the great work.
From a variety of cases to newer model phones, we have all of your cellular needs met here at Mon Valley Phone Repair. We even have gift cards. So remember, when your phone is broke, bring it down to Josh here at Mon Valley Phone Repair in Monessen.
At my very sexy phone.
If you're looking for an aggressive, experienced, results-based law firm, trust in Blaine Jones Law. My team of attorneys will create a solid strategy so that you have the best chance at a successful case. Trust in Blaine Jones Law and call today.
All right, welcome back to the MVI Sports Live Soccer Spectacular. We brought in staff photographer Jennifer Catalupi, the queen who tries to keep track of us animals every week. We pulled up our best soccer photos. We have some of our favorites. We have our staff photographers, Jennifer included, Mike Darnay, Ben Bamford, Boy Wonder, as I like to call him with the camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Jen kind of look at a couple photos, tell us what makes them great photos, you know, why people are such fans of what you guys do, and how important a great photo is for the story.
Yep.
So why do you say we take a look at the first photo?
Well, the first photo we have is of our wonderful Mike Darnay. Where's Mike from?
He is from Portview.
Okay. So he covers a lot of our McKee-Sport, Sarah, Bell Vernon, that area. He gave for us, and he's been a great addition to our team. But it's been a little over a year now.
Yes.
He's been shooting for us. With that, you can find him on the field. He sometimes dresses, how do we say?
Like a clown.
His shoes. His shoes. He wears incredible shoes, or sunglasses. He has a thing for bright colors.
Can't miss him when he's out.
Can't miss him. So, with that being said, let's go to his first photo. He goes back to last year with his first pick of photo. It is a photo of York versus Burrell soccer.
It was a WPIAL quarterfinal that York won in the final in overtime, I believe.
At Norwin, my alma mater.
Oh, go Knights.
Go Knights.
And this photo shows Justine Apollonia, jumping into the arms of another player, and I'm sorry, I don't know who the other player is because we can't see the number.
And we're going to talk about
We're going to talk about seeing the numbers. Well, actually, let's just talk about the numbers now. So, looking at a photo from a news standpoint, we always want to see the number of the player as much as possible so we can get the ID of the correct player. That's one thing we want to make sure that when we are featuring these players, we have the right names.
Well, yeah, I don't like the phone calls on my answering machine saying that, little Johnny or little Sissy's name is spelled wrong. Those aren't fun. Then we usually run the photo again. Time, space constraints. It's very important to be right
and to have the numbers. So.
And looking at this, I mean, the reaction of the girls, and not just Justine and her teammate, but the reaction of the visiting player. I mean, that's what makes it, right?
I mean, you could see just the loss, that they just lost the game. And it just thought the photo is a great photo all around. And we like to take the photos of the celebration, or unfortunately sometimes we've gotten them where they're not the team celebrating.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I love the sad face photos.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had a couple recently WPIAL Championship softball games. The sad photos are great emotional photos, and catching the emotion of a moment is always something we try to do.
Right.
And that's what you guys do very, very well. So.
All right, so let's move on to photo number 2. So this one is another soccer one from Mike Darnay. It is Sarah Catholic versus Trinity Christian, I believe it was.
Yes.
And in this, player number 10, Connor Gibson, he's a junior for Sarah Catholic. This was a recent photo.
This was just last week, I believe,
Okay.
yes.
And in this photo, it's just a very close-up photo, and it shows him in the action, and you can actually see the sweat and perspiration flying off of him, which is pretty incredible to be able to capture the stoppage of motion, and then the ball. You very crisp ball that you can see, and the player from Trinity Christian is looking up, and you can just see him saying, that was a great ball that he kicked.
A little late. And it's always important to bump up that clarity.
Up in clarity is perfect. You want to have a crisp picture to be able to print in the news as well as online. So,
one of the things I like that we're doing, and we can go on to the next photo, is what we did with these photos is we had each of you guys pick your favorite photos, and eventually we're going to get Mike on here, and we'll have Boy Wonder come in and do his thing too. But yeah, I mean, I like the fact that you guys have your favorites. We obviously have our favorites, so I think it's important to get everybody's opinions of what they think.
Right.
And
why it's a good photo.
And we can't run every photo in the newspaper, and that's a shame because there's so many that we do want to run. And to be able to come on here and to talk about them, it's just another way we can kind of show the world what you guys do.
And that's why our photo galleries are important. Which
Very.
Every game we shoot, we probably have 75. I ask for 30.
I would say an average of 30 to 100 photos we put on the photo gallery of every game that we shoot.
So
which is an incredible amount.
Right, and just because you don't see your favorite player, that doesn't mean they're not in that gallery somewhere. So those photos are always available for purchase. And they're not very expensive.
No, we have download option and we have print option. And if you do a print option, it's mailed directly back to your home address. So, or you can download them and share them with the world on the internet.
Well, so I think the next 2 photos we have to look at are Benny photos.
Yes, so
let's check out number 3.
We have a photo of Ben. He's in his rain gear, which we've had some very rainy soccer and football nights in the past few weeks.
Yes.
So as photographers, we have to have all-weather gear for our cameras, for our person, So from head to toe, he was in rain gear. So there's a little picture of our favorite Ben.
The WPIAL 2A golf championships.
Yeah, me and Ben went down to Cedar Brook last week and covered Elizabeth Forward Warriors golf team. Shout out to them. Runner-up finish in Olympiad.
All right, so let's move forward to Ben's first selection of the week. So he has Bell Vernon soccer, and this photo shows senior Markello
Podiakis.
I'm going to say it wrong.
You wouldn't be the first.
Our MVI B Graphics athlete of the week.
That's right, he is. So this shows him chasing off after the ball alongside 2 of, I'm not sure who.
Uniontown, I believe.
Yeah,
that's
right. So there's 2 Uniontown players on each side, and you could just see the drive in his eye, and he's after that ball, and that's one thing with Markello is he always knows where the ball is, and he's just one of those players that he gets to the ball, and you could see that in his eyes where he's tracking that ball.
I think one thing I like about this picture is you could see, I mean, just the muscle tone that these guys have and what great athletes they are. I mean, they're running around for, what is it, 80 minutes a game, 120 if it goes to double overtime.
How many minutes can you run?
If that. I might be able to round the bases. You think you're funny. Okay. Let's go to the next photo, which
is another BVA one, but it's girls this time. Junior Autumn Fort. And this photo just shows the intensity of, again, looking after the ball. We switched over to pictures. Okay. So yeah, I don't remember, again, who they were playing. It's a black uniform, I'm not sure. But she's going after that ball, and it just... That's
Elizabeth Ford.
Okay, right. And you could just see that she's just making sure she knows where that ball is, and she's going for it. Not sure why the hand's up in the air, but it's a great photo.
I think what it was a kick from the goalkeeper, and it's one of them. I know Coach Tom Cameron talks about the balls in the air. Okay. He's always pushing his girls to win those balls. Yeah. So she was definitely going up to try and win that one.
All right. So moving forward, here's my selections of the week. I couldn't pick just two. I had to go with three. Sorry. That's who I am. So our first one is of a Menneson. It was senior night the other night at Menneson, and it's Menneson girls. It's Sydney Caterino, and she's in the air. And if you ever watched Menneson girls soccer, Sydney Caterino is everywhere. She's very intense, and some of the reactions I get from Sydney are amazing. And she was just literally in the air after she kicked this ball. Unfortunately, she didn't make the goal, but it was a great attempt. So shout out to Sid for that one. That was an awesome photo. Anything else on that one?
No, I just like it. She looks like a deer. If you ever seen a deer jumping over a fence, that's exactly what she looks like. She just looks like she's striding. Yeah.
So, and going on with that, deer in the air. Next one is Colin Matovich from Charleroi. This was this past week, and Colin is a incredible soccer player.
Yes,
and the moves that he has on the field is moves that I haven't seen in many soccer players at the high school level.
Right.
And this one, I've caught many of him in the air, and this one just stands out as one of the best ones I've gotten of Colin. He is leaping through the air. To me, he looked like Superman running on air.
I mean, it's funny because he moves so fast. You don't even realize he was ever up that high.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just so fast, and it reminds me, I mean, not mocking at all, but kind of like he's squirrely. I mean, he can change directions in the air, on the run, and I know it irritates the teams he plays, like without it.
And in this specific shot, I believe he was going after the ball, but the goalie missed the ball, and he was actually jumping over the goalie so that he wouldn't kick or hit the goalie. So,
and that's not the only sensational photo that you've gotten of one of the Charleroi players. I know you had a couple, Leo like Evangelo with a couple bicycle kicks.
Well, that's the next photo. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. And this photo is incredible. It's a little bit out of focus when you zoom it in, but again, it's a bicycle kick. And how many high schoolers do bicycle kicks? And this is actually the second one I've gotten this year of him. And it's an incredible one. You have to be ready at that moment to snap the picture and pray that it is in focus. And so I love this picture of him doing the bicycle kicks.
Right. The first photo you got of him doing the bicycle kick, that one was great for the paper because you could see his face. This one you couldn't quite see it. And I don't know I don't remember what happened on the attempt, but that's why this particular one wouldn't be in the paper, just because you couldn't see his face.
But I think what makes that one special is also the reaction of Jace Kepich in the background.
Right.
Kind of just the pure amazement really on his face of what his teammate was.
And also the first one that he had was a goal. This one went over.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons we ran the first one, is because it was an awesome bicycle kick and it was an actual goal.
Right.
So to be able to just do that and just get it anywhere near the net is amazing.
Right.
I couldn't do it.
So some of the things that we also looking for actual newsprint quality photos is, like you said, faces. We have tons and tons of photos that are great photos of these athletes, but it's to their back or their side, and you don't see their face or their expression. And I know a lot of kids are like, "Oh my gosh, I look so silly in that picture," but it was the expression. It shows the how much intensity that they had, making that play, whether it's softball, baseball, or volleyball or anything. It's incredible to be able to capture that moment.
Right.
And to have their face in it is very important to us.
Yeah.
And we traditionally don't run photos that
don't have their face, again, their number, and
I know we've had that issue before. Well, I know in basketball season, there's a ball in the face. If the guy's in the air, so what? I mean, the ball's in the face, we're not using that picture. If his arm's in his face, we're not using that picture.
Right.
That's something that, it's just not acceptable.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't seem to have that problem anymore. So.
No. All right, I think my time is done here.
You're leaving us?
I think I am.
Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
To kind of talk about what you guys do. It's
I just can't wait to get the whole team together and get Ben and Mike here.
Yeah, they'll be in. I would expect they might show up at the first real football show.
This is just the beginning.
Yeah. So. I'm sure they're going to show up, and we'll have them in and introduce them to the masses from time to time. If you see these guys on the field, don't be afraid to say hi. You never know when somebody's going to take your picture too.
Don't be afraid to say, "Hey, take my picture."
We like that. We like that. I think we're going to pay some bills here, and then we're going to get into the soccer brackets. First up, we're going to take a look at the boys single A, and we'll go up to 3A, and we'll take a look at that when we come back.
All right, it's all fixed up for you.
Oh, wow, thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. This is Josh Turkovich from Mon Valley Phone Repair. Shout out to all you student athletes in the Mon Valley. Keep up the great work.
From a variety of cases to newer model phones, we have all of your cellular needs met here at Mon Valley Phone Repair. We even have gift cards. So remember, when your phone is broke, bring it down to Josh here at Mon Valley Phone Repair in Monessen.
At my dear 60 sound.
If you're looking for an aggressive, experienced, results-based law firm, trust in Blaine Jones Law. My team of attorneys will create a solid strategy so that you have the best chance at a successful case. Trust in Blaine Jones Law and call today.
Okay, welcome back to the Soccer Spectacular Show. We're going to get into the boys Class A playoff bracket where we have local teams. Who do we got here in Class A?
We got two teams. You got Monessen and Sarah Catholic. You want to talk a little bit about the matchups there?
Monessen, we have them facing off with Power Sewickley Academy. One of the things, Monessen's put in a lot of goals on the board lately, but the key for Monessen in this game is really going to be Cam Frollo cannot do it all.
Absolutely.
I mean, he is going to have to defer to teammates, guys like Morgan Madison, Deshaun Howe, and in the end, it's going to come down to goalkeeping with Nate Lynch.
Right, and over the last few games, they've gotten that. And Deshaun Howe, I think 3 goals in his last, or 4 goals actually in his last 2 or 3 games. And Monessen really, they ended the regular season on a high note, winning 4 of their last 6. Finished 4th in Section 4A. They had a signature win early in the year against Bishop Canevin on September 22nd, a nice 1-0 victory. So I think the biggest thing here is Monessen hasn't played anyone of Sewickley Academy's caliber. They've had non-section games against McKeesport, Wash High, and Jeanette, and they have a combined record of 3-41-2.
Yeah.
So those are obviously easy wins, but they really haven't played those high caliber teams, and they had a couple of non-section games. Greenberg, Salem, Charlotte, and Brownsville all got postponed.
I think the biggest thing is they have to go by what they learned from the Seton LaSalle games.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to bring up the debate private public school, but the facts are the facts. Right. So these schools, there's no boundaries.
Absolutely.
They're going out there. Some of the best talent in the Western Pennsylvania region is there. So they're going to have their work cut out for them, especially defensively. You hate to say you kind of have to pack it in and keep the other team off the board, hope for a mistake. But I mean, that's probably going to have to be the Greyhounds' plan, and I'm sure head coach Sam Perry is aware.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive unit is going to have to be really strong and keep them off the scoreboard and try to develop chances and capitalize on those chances. They've had a lot of opportunities in big games. The Seton LaSalle game, they gave up maybe one or 2 or 3 bad goals and just couldn't capitalize on their chances. They had a couple balls sail over the crossbar, go wide of the net, so they got to capitalize.
Looking at the other side of the bracket here, going back quickly to Sewickley and Monessen, that game is at 6:15 Monday at West Allegheny. The winner of that game will play the winner of Springdale and Bishop Canevin, who Monessen is well aware, of Bishop Canevin. But anytime you're in that 1, 2, 3, 4, with the top 4 teams, you have a tough draw. So, right. And I'm sure the Greyhounds know that. They know they're always, excuse the pun, but they're always the underdogs. So, prediction-wise, I think Sewickley Academy will handle business. Yeah. I do want to see our local team do well. I think, Frollo might get a goal or two to get them on the board. But, I mean, here's hoping the defense plays well.
Yeah, I think that Sewickley Academy's offensive unit and their forwards are just going to be too much for the Greyhounds defense.
Looking up next on the other side of the bracket, the 7-10 game, we have Sarah Catholic is the 10 seed, which they will play Brentwood, a team that Monessen's familiar with.
Yes.
That game is at 6 o'clock at Peters Township on Monday. What do you see from the Eagles here?
Well, I mean, they finished 3rd in Section 2A, a pair of 4-game winning streaks that kind of vaulted them into the postseason. Really a tough section with teams like Winchester, Thurston, and Greensburg Central Catholic. 0-4 against those 2 teams. But they played them very closely. I mean, I don't think they lost any of those 4 games by more than 2 goals, 3 one-goal games. So I feel like that has to be a confidence booster for the Eagles going into the playoffs. I mean, they have talent, and they were in those games, obviously, maybe a goal here and there, or just a capitalizing on a mistake here or there, and you're in business, and you might have a tie game or even take a lead. So I think that has to give them some confidence going into this matchup.
I think the biggest thing for them, and this is going to go for a lot of our teams here, is they had a couple guys score their first goals of the season in their last game. Yeah. Again, it can't just be Joey Felino, Chris Salemi doing all the scoring for him. They're going to need the secondary scoring to really help them out.
And another thing is they have really good athletes. I mean, these kids play more than one sport. I mean, Jimmy Moon is a great basketball player. Nick Fedora, the last 2 weeks on the football field, has made some really clutch field goals. A 39-yarder a couple weeks ago, went over 40 yards last week. So they have some really good athletes that have made really good soccer players that are really, really talented. So, I wouldn't really count them out. They're the lower seed in this one, but I've seen Brentwood play Monessen, had a scoreless tie with them early in the season. If you play really tough defense, I think Sarah has a chance in this one.
I think the key, like you mentioned real quickly, Jimmy Moon. He's 6'8". He plays that midfield. He distributes the ball well. Yeah. So I think the key for them will be him overseeing everything. Distributing the ball like he has. I know there was one game recently he had 4 assists. Yeah. That's going to be big. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with the Eagles in an upset, maybe 3-1, 3-2.
I think you're good on this one. I'd have to agree. Maybe a 2-1 game. I think if they hold Brentwood down, the Eagles could be able to pull off that upset.
All right, let's go to Class 2A, and this is an exciting one for us. Yes. We have 2 representatives in the 2A bracket, and guess what? They play one another.
First round matchup against each other.
We have undefeated Charleroi, who got the 4 seed. I talked to Coach DeColey after their big win over, I forget who they played the last game, but it was Bentworth. They, he was kind of hoping, since they're undefeated, Quaker Valley, Deer Lakes, and Keystone Oaks, who are a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
They have the tradition, but DeColley is persistent on starting the new tradition at Charleroi, and he's kind of glad they got the 4 seed because he thinks his boys are going to use that as motivation.
I think they've really developed a winning culture over last year, sharing the section title with Waynesburg Central. This year they won it outright. I mean, they really dominated throughout the regular season. 10 or more goals in 5 games this year. They scored less than 8 goals in only 3 games. So, I mean, the offensive firepower, we talked in the last segment about Cullen Lajkovic, I think 43 goals this season, and he's one of the WPIAL leaders, if not the WPIAL leader, kind of leading the way for that offense. And, we talked a little bit about, John McCoy doesn't just have a couple of different guys to score. He has depth on that bench. A ton of scoring ability on that team.
I mean, I definitely think Charleroi, as their record 16-0, says, they are so deep.
Yeah.
His starters get the game up to 7 goals, but he brings in these kids like Evan McIntyre. I know J.D. Fleming's had a couple goals. Yeah. There's guys coming off the bench that they don't really miss a beat when they get on the field. And I know, looking at Elizabeth Ford, when we did our previews for our print edition, Coach Finke was not happy that he sees Charleroi in the first round. Yeah. The first time they played, 6-0, Charleroi won. Maybe one advantage is they've already seen the Cougars, so that could give them a little advantage, but I know Coach Finke was really hoping to avoid them in the first round.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing in this one is Charleroi had such a great regular season. They really can't overlook this EF team. This is a young team, but this is a very hungry team that really, I think, surprised a lot of people this season. And I think that, Coach DeColley said teams play differently in the playoffs. Every team is 0-0 going into the postseason. And EF has, I'd say they just have just as much of a chance as anyone else of possibly upsetting the Cougars. One team could have a bad day on any given day. So this is definitely not the matchup that Elizabeth Ford wanted for sure. And I think that maybe they felt a little slighted not getting a higher seed. They were the 13 seed. But, they're in a very talented section. Keystone Oaks, East Alec player team.
They might be a year or two away.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that this is a team that's going to just get better. And this playoff experience is going to be very valuable. And I think he knows, the coach knows that as well.
And I know Coach Finke likes to play a defensive system. Mm-hmm. Most importantly, they got a quality goaltender in Ben Durant. I think he had 21 saves. Mm-hmm. His last game, they were up there.
Yeah.
He's going to keep them in the game as much as he can.
Yeah, when you have a reliable senior back there, and Coach has talked about this on more than one occasion, when you have a reliable senior back there that, if your defense makes a mistake, he can bail you out. He can make a big save if he needs to.
All right, we're going to jump up to Class 3A. This is our final section. We obviously, the Mon Valley here, we don't have many big schools. But our 2 biggest, we have in the 4-13 game, Ringgold will have a rematch against Indiana. I know it's one they've been wanting after last year. We talked briefly. I think Ringgold's issue last year was they were more worried about where they were playing instead of who they were playing. But no worries this year. They're going to be at Joe Montana Stadium this year on the new turf to play the Indians.
Yeah, I think a lot of motivation for some revenge this year. A 1-0 win for Indiana last year on a controversial call in the box that gave the Indians a penalty kick that they ended up winning on. And obviously the Rams were not happy after that loss, and I think that's fueling them going into the playoffs, and the fact that they get Indiana again is just a coincidence.
But I don't know how much of a coincidence it is. The biggest thing for me is head coach Steve Persad. His guys have to stay in control mentally. I think I don't. There's just so much talent up and down. He calls it the blue wall. Their defense is so solid. Yeah. I don't know what Indiana has coming back. Like you said, it was a bit of a controversial call, but, I think the Rams just take care of business. They're going to be happy to be playing at home.
Yeah.
They're part of a doubleheader with Charleroi at 6, and then they play at 8. They're going to have a big home field advantage. Right. Even the Charleroi guys, the Charleroi crowd will be rooting for them, I'm sure.
Right. I think Ringgold brings in a lot of momentum coming into this. won 6 straight section matches, outscoring teams 26-0 in those 6 games. So, 6 shutouts. Travis Yonite in goal has been really reliable for them, and ended the season with a big non-section win against Class 4A Peters Township. So that's a big one too. So this is a team that's getting hot at the right time, and you mentioned the defensive unit led by Jeff Souls. Coach Prasad has said that without his defense, that would be a completely different team. So I think this matchup, Ringgold will probably do what they did last year and shut their offensive unit down, but they got to make sure that they capitalize on opportunities, something that they really struggled with against Laurel Highlands in the game that they won the section title with. Got an overtime goal from Mason Fabian that ended up being the game winner, but really got to capitalize on those chances when you get them.
Looking now at the 7-10 game, Bell Vernon area will host Kiski area at 8 o'clock on Monday at the Weir. I think Bell Vernon had some work to do to even get a higher seed, but they did that. They came through in the games that they needed to win at the end of the year against teams they should win. And it all starts with Markello. He heated up at the right time. He helped push his team into the playoffs, but I think, teams marking him with 2 or 3, they're going to have to get that secondary scoring from Aaron Brown or Daniel Sasak.
Right. In today's Mon Valley Independent, we're scoring on Markello, like you said, Mon Valley Independent B Graphics Athlete of the Week. 12 goals in his last 4 games, in which the Leopards were able to win this Final Four and help boost them, maybe get them a higher seed than Laurel Highlands, which is something that we were kind of surprised at. But obviously a big stretch for him. He's really kicking it up a notch at the right time. But yeah, like you said, you need that balance. You need Aaron Brown to put some in the net. You need Daniel Sasak who's been, I think, pretty solid as a freshman this year, going to get his first opportunity in a playoff game. So you need that balance on the scoring, and I think that the Leopards might get that.
And it comes down to goaltending. I know T.J. Watson, shared some time with Tyler Masello late in the year, but it seems like Watson has regrasped what he needs to do, and Hunter Martin leading that back line, which is pretty young, but anytime you have a 6'3", 6'4" kid back there with length, great speed, and great soccer know-how, that should really help. Obviously, the communication has improved. I don't think the Leopards, will have too much of an issue to Monday night. I'll say Bell Vernon wins 3-0.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. I think maybe a 1-goal game. Kiski's kind of, similar records. Kiski at 11-6-1, Bell Vernon at 12-5-1. Kiski also won 4 straight to end the regular season and won 7 of the last 9. So both teams are heating up at the right moment. So I think it's going to be a pretty solid showdown.
Well, that's our look at the boys soccer brackets. When we come back, we will delve into the girls brackets. 6 more teams to go, and we'll wrap this thing up. But I'm looking forward to the soccer playoffs. I know you are. We'll take a look at our local girls team as soon as we get back.
All right, it's all fixed up for you.
Oh, well, thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. This is Josh Turkovich from Mon Valley Phone Repair. Shout out to all you student athletes in the Mon Valley. Keep up the great work.
From a variety of cases to newer model phones, we have all of your cellular needs met here at Mon Valley Phone Repair. We even have gift cards. So remember, when your phone is broke, bring it down to Josh here at Mon Valley Phone Repair in Monessen.
At my dear 67.
If you're looking for an aggressive, experienced, results-based law firm, trust in Blaine Jones Law. My team of attorneys will create a solid strategy so that you have the best chance at a successful case. Trust in Blaine Jones Law and call today.
We are back here on MVI Sports Live. We're back here on MVI Sports Live. Now going to talk about the girls' brackets.
Yes.
Jeremy, I know that a couple days ago you kind of highlighted this and previewed the girls' brackets. Six local teams, just like the boys' side.
Right.
Starting in Class A, Sarah Catholic, the 13 seed, finished 8-6 overall, and they have Seton LaSalle, the number 4 seed. What do you think about this matchup?
I'll tell you what, Sarah Catholic to me is in a situation where they play in the best section in Class A.
Yep.
Shady Side Academy, Greensburg Central Catholic have won I think I said it in our last test, each of the last 7 single A titles, one of those 2 teams has won.
Right.
So that section kind of beat up on one another, and Sarah Catholic got beat up on a little bit. But, they finished 4th. I know they're still a young team. Ashley Dorn, she's done a very good job.
Right.
But they finished 8-6. Seton LaSalle's 9-4-2. I think on paper they're pretty evenly matched. I know the Eagles are a little young. Our breakout player of the year last year was Jamie Dermana. She's a sophomore.
Yeah.
Maddie Carr, she's still an underclassman, I believe. I think they're going to have a tough time with Seton LaSalle. I would say that Seton LaSalle probably has the advantage of this one. They're playing at Mount Lebanon at 3 o'clock on Saturday. It's going to be tough for the Eagles in this one,
Right.
but their defense has to be good. Get the ball out of the zone, get it into the midfield quick, and let those girls up front do what they have to do.
And Seton LaSalle was the cream of the crop really in Section 4A, winning that section, and 5 straight to end the year they won. So definitely going to be a tough matchup, but they need that scoring from Jamie Dermata. They need that scoring from Maddie Carr, and maybe some balance elsewhere as well.
Right. The second, we talk about it with every game. The secondary scoring, teams see film on each other.
Right.
They know who they need to mark. That's what's going to happen here. The secondary scoring and the goaltending is going to be huge.
Right.
I know Class A is our deepest. Half of our girls' teams are in Class A.
Yeah.
So
and going to the other side of the bracket, going off of that, Betworth, one of the top teams in the Valley, undefeated section champions, 14-2 overall this season, get the 3 seed, and they're going up against number 14 Vincentian. The offense is loaded with girls like Jocelyn Timlin, Paige Marshallek, Roy Schreiber.
You just mentioned Timlin and Marshallek. Those are the top goal scorers in school history.
Yeah.
They're only juniors.
Yeah, they're going to just add on to that.
Tyler Hamstra has done such a good job with that team. They put a lot of balls in the net. They score a lot. So what they're going to have to just worry about is they're going to get their goals. They have probably the best goaltender in single A in Candy Castle. I think she has 9 or 10 shutouts this season alone. She's the all-time. I think she's the winningest goalie now.
Right.
Vincentian, 6-5-2. I talked to Coach Hamstra. He doesn't know much about them. They've been real inconsistent all year long, he said. But he's not even worried about them. He's worried about his team and preparing them for this. For as young as they are, with a batch of sophomores and juniors, they still have so much experience.
Right.
I think it was 2 years ago this group was freshmen playing for a WPIAL title. I don't see any problems. I can see Bentworth easy putting 6 on the board.
And I think, going off that, Coach Hamstra having them ready, not just physically but mentally. I think with those top teams, like we mentioned with Charleroi, they can't overlook anybody. They have to, play their A game every single night and just focus on what they can accomplish and what they can do to hold teams off the scoreboard.
And it's not even Marshallek and Timlin. Rory Schreiber has had a great season.
Yep.
And a lot of times she gets overlooked because those other 2 are filling a net. But each result that we get in where Timlin has 3, Marshallek has 3, there's Rory with 1 or 2.
Yep.
And Castle, she's not even seeing a lot of shots. So defensively, in the midfield, in the back line, the Bearcats are solid all around. Honestly, I can see them pulling an upset in the semis and making another trip to Highmark to play for a championship this year. But I just think Vincentian's just a little speed bump in the road for them.
Right. And the winner of that matchup will face the winner of a matchup that includes another Mon Valley team.
Right.
11th seeded Charleroi. I won't say that this was a surprise that they made the playoffs because they 9th consecutive appearance in the WPIAL playoffs. But the way they've done it, only, I think the other day against Menneson, they only had 11 players.
Well, and it's a testament to what Coach Tracy Fleming has done.
Yes.
I mean, she knew coming into the year they might not even have a team. Mm-hmm. She was not sure of what girls were even going to be on the team, if they were going to have enough. Injuries could have done this team in, which going back when I covered the Charleroi boys game earlier this week, the girls were playing best center, and Gianna Biddle went down, Lexi Johnson went down. Biddle hops right back up off the bench and goes in the game. It's a testament to the kids they have on that team. But, I mean, Bella Scoble, last year she was on the back line. This year she's up front. She's doing big things with her speed. She's able to break away. She's put a couple goals on the board. The biggest thing is Canavan going to wear them down? Mm-hmm. I mean, Canavan's a solid team. They're 10-3-1 on the year. They finished second in Section 4. Charleroi was tied for third in Section 2. The Cougars, I know against Best Center, Megan Sterner did not even play.
Right.
I don't know if that was just a precautionary thing.
She didn't play against Menneson either, so I think it's just trying to get her ready for the playoffs.
Right. I hope she's there. And like you said, it's kind of a surprise, and I think Fleming would tell you that. Mm-hmm. I mean, she knew what she lost last year coming into this season, so she's happy to be here. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately for the Cougars, it might be a short stay, but, I mean, something to build on for sure. And Fleming is definitely in our Coach of the Year conversation for the job she's done with those girls. Her and her assistant Tracy Day, they've done such a great job. I mean, those girls, they practice, they're playing hurt. She said there's a couple girls that probably shouldn't even be playing, but they're doing their thing.
Yeah, and coming into the season, she had a lot of girls who never played soccer before.
Right.
Her goalkeeper Lexi Perry came into the season never playing goal, and she's been very solid this year. Tough shoes to fill with Shayla Watkins leaves, and obviously they lost some other weapons as well. Caitlin Riley on the offensive side, and but I mean they've really been a solid team. Madison Musser has really stepped up.
She had a hat trick the other night.
Yeah. So
and the thing is, like you mentioned, Shayla Watkins, she's at Washington and Jefferson winning games as a freshman, so that was a big loss. But Lexi Perry, Jen was with me when we arrived last week, and Lexi Perry made 2 really good saves to save that game against Best Center. Right. So I think she's seasoned enough, where she's going to steal a couple goals away from Bishop Canavan in this one.
All right, let's go to the 2A bracket. We have one team in the 2A bracket. Yock, who was a top seed last year, made it all the way to the semis, come in as the 10th seed against number 7 Burrell. Not maybe where people expected them to be in terms of going into the playoffs, but they finished very, very strong.
Another rematch that Burrell wanted this one really bad because we saw the photo.
Right.
Justine Apollonia, broke their hearts last year. So I know the Bucks have been wanting this one. I mean, and the Bucks are much improved. This season they, they're right back in the mix. They were near the top of their section again. But Yock, I'll tell you what, Dan Apollonia likes to play that offensive or defensive style, but lately their offense, 24-0, they've outscored teams in their last 4 games. Yep. And the key all season for him was the secondary scoring, as we've talked about. Natalie Vilcek, last 4 games, 10 goals. 3 straight hat tricks. I mean, it's no coincidence that they won those games.
Right.
Her and Justine Apollonia, Dan's daughter, which, I mean, I get them mixed up. There's so many, and they're all playing soccer. But, she, too, has 2 straight hat tricks. She has 10 goals in her last 4 games. That's a potent 1-2 punch. And Sarah Krofcheck in goal, she's been solid. I know last year she had a lot more shutouts. But, in a new section, unfamiliarity with the teams they played. But it seems like Coach Apollonia has this team rolling at the right time.
Yeah, I think that Yock might have the lower seed, but bad news for Burrell. I think so. I think the Cougars are really peaking at the right time, and like you mentioned, when you have that 1-2 punch, when you have 2 girls that are capable of putting it in the back of the net, it makes it tough on opposing defenses.
Right. And like you said, will Burrell be pushing because they want this one so bad after last year's heartbreaker? Yock, if they stay the course, they play their style, they play their system. Vilcek and Apollonia, if they each drop in a goal, Yock's going to lock you down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a team hasn't scored. I think they've given up 1 goal in their last 6 games.
Right.
So, I mean, they're really tough. And I actually would have liked to seen Yock play a team like, we're going to talk about Bell Vernon or something. I think those would be great games because Yock has turned into one of the perennial programs like Bentworth has the last couple games.
Absolutely. What's any prediction on this one? How do you think it's going to fare?
I'm going to go Yock 4-3.
4-3.
I think there's going to be a high-scoring game in this one. Yeah.
Apollonia and Vilcek going to account for all 4? I mean, do you think this is a 4th straight game with a hat trick for Vilcek possibly?
No, I'll say 2 each, or maybe a hat trick for Justine.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's good too, to balance it out in a game.
Right.
When you have that many weapons, you can't really just key on Justine anymore, and I think that's big for the Cougars.
Right.
Going into the 3A bracket, we got 2 more teams. Our final 2 that we have on one side, we have Brandon Gerba's Elizabeth Forward Warriors, number 12 seed. They're 8-8 on the year, facing number 5 Hampton, who's 14-4. What do you got in the Warriors?
Well, this is a rematch of a game earlier in the season. I know Hampton won the first meeting. I believe it was 4-0. But EF, much like Yock, late in the season, they needed to make a push to get into the playoffs. They finished tied for Section 2. Obviously, Bell Vernon kind of ran away with it, but finishing unbeaten. But EF is one of them teams. They're a lot like their boys team. They like to play defensive soccer.
Right.
But Natalie Beinlich has started to score. Bree Scallican has started to score. They're getting great goaltending from Kokenauer.
Mm-hmm.
So, what they need to do is stay there, play their game. Don't let Hampton dictate the flow of the game.
All season long, their defense hasn't been an issue. I mean, they've been able to hold teams. It's just a matter of getting that scoring and being healthy as well. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries, but I know Coach Gerba, who's done a fantastic job with this group, said everyone's healthy and they're ready for the playoffs.
Well, that's good. And he gave very good, I have it in front of me, talking about Hampton. He knows what Hampton's going to bring to the game. I mean, he's confident in his team. He knows they're very well coached. But like he said, it's going to go to the potential. Elizabeth Ford is a very young team. Right. They're going to be, they're probably another year or 2 away after all the losses they suffered last year, losing their top 2 scorers. Anytime you take so many goals off a team, you're going to struggle to find those goals again this year. But he knows what Hampton's going to bring. They're prepared for it. It's just a matter of making the in-game adjustments to see what happens there.
Right. What do you think? And you think the Warriors can pull off the upset, or do you think it might be one and done?
I unfortunately, I do think it's going to be one and done, but it's not going to be 4-0. I expect the Warriors to put a goal on the board. I'm going to say Hampton 2-1. Gotcha. I think they're going to get that defensive style into the game.
I think just making it into the playoffs. Obviously, they won the section title last year, but when you lose 2 weapons like Natalie Chornak and Cassidy Kern, that's tough to replace, especially when you have so many young girls that you're relying on to replace them. So I think there was a lot of uncertainty coming into the season for Elizabeth Ford, but this is a step in the right direction to give these younger girls the experience that they can use, going the rest of their high school careers.
Right.
On to the next side of the bracket, Bell Vernon area, the section champs, undefeated section champs. 13-3 overall. They get the number 3 seed facing number 14 South Fayette. What do you think about this matchup? Obviously, Bell Vernon's been able to run through their section this season with so many offensive weapons and talented young defense, talented goalkeeper as well.
The biggest thing for me is I'm happy for them because they got a home game. Mm-hmm. Coach Cameron talked earlier about assistant coach Corey Stark, one of, if not the best player to come out of that program. Right. I think they had an undefeated season and I think she played 1 home game. Mm-hmm. So for these girls who are still very young and will probably be younger next year to get the opportunity to play in a home game, I couldn't be happier for them. You're going to be at that game covering it. I think Bell Vernon, their issue has been a bad start the last couple games. I wrote about it in that press box crew. I got an autograph photo the other day. Right. They started playing Renegade at halftime. It's a Pittsburgh thing,
Right.
and it worked. They come out and they score within the first 10 minutes, and once they score that first goal, it's going to be a long day for the opponents. Izzy Larita's filling the net. I could see her breaking all of the goal scoring records at Bell Vernon event down the line. I mean, she's only a sophomore, but that front line of her, Jillian Butchkai, and Morgan Einenshofer, they're a handful.
Yeah.
I mean, they're young, but they're a handful. But I think a lot of the biggest thing with Bell Vernon is their back line is unheralded, and they've done such a fantastic job. The last couple games, they struggled a little bit. I think the change in the weather had a little bit to do with that. But then you got a 6'2" goalkeeper back there in Grace Henderson, the other MVI B Graphics Athlete of the Week.
Right.
I mean, anytime you have a girl 6'2" with good lateral speed, she's going to save a couple balls for you. I mean, she had 17 saves against Laurel Highlands the other night. She was fantastic. That back line is actually being led by a freshman, Adeline Guess, and we know the Guess family very well. I don't think they're going to have a problem. They just got to get an early goal and control the tempo of the game, and I think they'll be okay. I like Bell Vernon here, maybe 4-0, 4-1.
Right, and they played in a really competitive section as well. Do you think that the couple non-section games, they lost 3 non-section games that they played, Waynesburg Central, Cannon, McMillan, and North Catholic. Do you think that's going to impact them, have an impact on them?
I think that gave them a good look at perennial programs, which Bell Vernon is. They're a perennial program. But with being so young, it's almost like hitting the reset button and let's bring it back up. They lost 7-0 to Cannon McMillan. That's a little skewed. Coach Cameron's not dumb. He's been around a long time. He's a great veteran coach. His starters didn't play much. They didn't play I think they were down 2-0 at halftime very much in the game. But he don't want an injury. You don't want an injury this time of the year. So, I think Bell Vernon, I don't want to say they got it in a bag. Obviously, soccer is one of them sports, but I think they're going to be okay. I think once they get over the first couple minutes, get the jitters out. What helped them last year is, those young girls up front especially, they got playoff experience. Coach Cameron remarked about how Izzy and Jillian are now showing, Morgan and preparing Morgan what it's going to be like for this because they went through it last year.
Right. I mean, this is a team that's a lot of young girls are only to get better. I mean, undefeated in section play, but to be able to do what they've been able to do at this point in time is pretty impressive.
They're going to be a special team for sure.
So that's it for our brackets. I think we're going to take a break here, but we will be back here on MVI Sports Live.
All right, it's all fixed up for you.
Oh, well, thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. This is Josh Turkovich from Mon Valley Phone Repair. Shout out to all you student athletes in the Mon Valley. Keep up the great work.
From a variety of cases to newer model phones, we have all of your cellular needs met here at Mon Valley Phone Repair. We even have gift cards. So remember, when your phone is broke, bring it down to Josh here at Mon Valley Phone Repair in Monessen.
At my dear 67.
If you're looking for an aggressive, experienced, results-based law firm, trust in Blaine Jones Law. My team of attorneys will create a solid strategy so that you have the best chance at a successful case. Trust in Blaine Jones Law and call today.
Okay, we're back for a quick final segment here at MVI Sports Studios. We're going to have a couple questions. If you don't know, if you're watching us on our stream on YouTube, there is a live chat. So anybody can send us questions. The last 5 minutes of the shows are going to be, it's going to be a free-for-all. Right. You want to talk movies, you want to talk national sports, you want to talk football, baseball, golf, volleyball, I don't know, whatever we want to talk about. It's all fair game right now. You don't like my sweatshirt? We'll talk about it. That's fine. We're all good.
And send us questions on Twitter at MVI_sports or even at our personal accounts at JSalute10
yes.
And at JNegron_13.
I think we do have one question here.
So we have one question that is, what's your thoughts on Albert Galton leading the WPIAL?
Yes, for those that didn't hear Jen, she's monitoring the the text line over here. Albert Gallatin announced yesterday that they are going to leave the WPIAL for football. It's a Class 5A school. I know a lot of teams around here are familiar with them. Right. They played in Bell Vernon section. You know, I feel bad for Albert Gallatin, man. Yeah. They were not a very good team in 4A, but they were starting to win. Mm-hmm. You know, they had a couple wins in 4A. They bumped them up to 5A with McKeesport, Franklin Regional. You know, I kind of see why. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it's a shame that WPIAL doesn't have an option where maybe you could drop down. Right. You know, but, you know, it's one of the biggest school districts land-wise in the WPIAL. It doesn't seem like they're getting the athletes to come out and play.
No, I mean, we kind of looked at it. Every game this season has been pretty lopsided. I think they've allowed maybe 40 points or so in every game. Haven't really scored as much. What was kind of the statistic over the last few years? I think only like 9 wins.
Not even that. That might be 5 years, 9 wins.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation to be in, a tough situation for – you feel bad for the athletes. I mean, for these kids who, you know, are going out, and I mean, it's tough. It's a tough thing to see, and you know, hopefully they can find a solution somehow.
I like that.
I don't really know.
I haven't unleashed any solutions. I got a few solutions for some people, but we can't air them. So that's
all right, so that question was from Big Dan.
Big Dan, Little Dan. We like Little Dan.
The next question I have is, do you think the 2017 Coach of the Year was good looking and nicely dressed?
Who was the 2017? Oh, I know who that question's from. Little John and Little Dan. You know, he's always well dressed. I mean, next time I interview him, if those that don't know, our 2017 Fab 15 Coach of the Year was John DeColey of the Charleroi Cougars. I will bring a stool so we can talk eye to eye the next time we do an interview. But I love John. He's a great dude. He is very well dressed. I'm sure he's probably wearing scrubs right now because I know where you work, John. So yeah, he's a well dressed man.
I'm a short guy too, so I kind of take offense to your stool comment.
Sorry.
But, you know, it's all right. John DeColey, you know, he's a good guy. Obviously this year he's had a lot to smile about.
Yes. He's always smiling.
Yeah, he's always smiling. So got to give a shout out to him.
Mike D has a real quick question. McKeesport football. Where will they end up in rank 5A?
Woo! Okay, Mike Darney. My prediction: they're gonna beat Franklin Regional tonight, but you know Franklin Regional lost to Gateway by 60 points.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say where they'll end up in the brackets. Maybe 5, the 5 seed maybe. I mean I think that is definitely the best section or conference in 5A, the Big East, but. You know, they play that offense. They play that triple option offense, and now Carroto Gaskins is throwing the ball around.
Yeah.
So that opens a lot of things up. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with, but I could see them as the 5 seed. Probably.
Yeah, I would see them around that area. I mean, the Penn Trafford loss was obviously a big one. I think Penn Trafford's going to get someone in the higher seed, but I mean, this is a team that, regardless of where they're seated at, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So. When you have so many weapons in the backfield and things of that nature, it's going to be tough to beat.
Our producer and our photographer over here having fun with it. I think we got another question.
Yes, I'm not going to say who's asking this question, but the last question that just came in was, so if Charleroi and Monessen would have played, who would have won?
I think
I'll answer it.
You know, I think we all know that question or that answer, and a lot of people have asked this question, and you know, let's get this right off the bat. A lot of Monessen people were out there saying Charleroi was scared. I know for a fact there's nothing more than Charleroi football team wanted to come in here and play. Charleroi big. I mean, Monessen's back. I mean, they're talented, but they're Tri-County South back right now. They got a tough game tonight against Rochester. You know, I still think the Greyhounds are another year, maybe 2 away, but they're going to dominate the Tri-County South. But I think Charleroi would have hung 45.
I think Monessen would have showed. I mean, that was the first game of the season, week 0. I mean, Monessen would have showed people what they were capable of, and people wouldn't have just saw it on week 1. They would have saw it against a tough Charleroi team. They would have scored 2 or 3 touchdowns. They would have could show off what Devin Whitlock is capable of. Obviously a talented back. But yeah, Charleroi has so many weapons. I think that was just going to be a big win for the Cougars.
Yeah, I think the Cougars wouldn't have. I mean, Menneson's fast. They got athletes, but I don't think they had the athletes that Charleroi has right now. So we have anything else? Yes, our photographer just reminded us that one thing we want to do, and I had it in the paper today in our weekly Curly Sue picks, we want to send our best wishes out to Bell Vernon quarterback Jared Hartman.
Absolutely.
He's awaiting surgery after a dislocated knee. He tore a couple ligaments in there. We know Jared will bounce back. There's no doubt. We saw a picture of him at practice yesterday enjoying some cupcakes sitting on the goalpost. So, you know, our heart goes out to him, but we think the Leopards are going to be just fine. They're going to miss his leadership on the field, and we know he's going to be there.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I think he's going to impact in some way or another. I mean, he's providing motivation for these guys. They want to win it for Jared, and we know the Hartman family. They're a great family, a very athletic, athletic kids in that family. And we kind of talked about last year when JJ had an injury. Jared wore his number 4 to support his brother, and we know that Jared's going to get support from JJ and the rest of the Hartman family. So best wishes to Jared as he recovers from that.
Well, and Jared did that for JJ last year, and now JJ is going to support him in other ways, and he's going to help him get through the rehab. I'm upset we won't be able to watch him with Joe Salvino this year, but I'm sure Coach Salvino is kind of upset about that too. But Jared's a good kid. He's going to come back strong. I think he'll be just fine. He's going to come back stronger than ever.
Absolutely.
No more questions on the chat line here. I think that's it. We're going to wrap it up.
Shout-outs.
We're going to give a shout-out to Chad Carroto for putting this together. Yeah, we are. You're giving him some credit. We're going to talk about Jen for helping us out with the text line. This is now your new job.
Yes.
But we are going to catch everybody at our first real show, October 31st. We are going to break down the football brackets live at the Foster House 2. It's a 2 now.
It's 2.
Hope to get a king sandwich coming my way. Obviously, I probably don't need it, but we're going to do that. We're hoping our local coaches with playoff teams are going to come and join us. I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has become a venture that we've really wanted to do for a very long time. This is our second time doing this, so we hope to build this moving forward. And got to give a shout out to the rest of our team: Ben Bamford, Mike Darnay. If you see them on the sidelines, give them a shout. I'm sure they'll take your picture.
Absolutely.
And if you
Also your writers and your other stringers.
Of course, we got to give a shout to Zach Ziegler, one of our other freelance writers. David Palm. Thank you guys, Ashley Chase.
Ashley, we need some more Ashley Chase in our life.
We do.
I hope she sees this. Bob Smith on the sidelines with the photos. Dean Delamalva Jr. We got him back in the mix this year. I'm very proud of the product we've been able to put out all year. It's going to continue straight through fall into winter and spring. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to having guests here. We have a quick schedule of our rundown, which I lost it because I'm so unorganized. But just looking ahead, October 31st we have the playoff football preview at the Foster House. Then the following week, our Fab 15 Soccer All-Stars. We started discussing that tonight.
Yes, we did.
We are going to introduce those live from B Graphics in Bell Vernon. Then November 14th, 21st, we're looking to post videos every week. I think it's 7 p.m. was mandated every Wednesday, unless it's a live show. We have Lou Rude of Trib High School Sports Network. Bell Vernon folk know him. He will be hosting for us these live events. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun, like you said. We wanted to do this for a long time. I think our athletes here most deserve it. Get them out there. Let them, talk to the media more, and get them some exposure that they deserve.
Yeah, I mean, we do this because we want to be able to, publicize these kids and be able to put them in the paper because they worked really hard for recognition, and we're happy to give it to them. And we want to thank, all of our viewers here today on MVI Sports Live. We want to thank all of our readers. We want to be able to do this and do what we love to do without all of you.
And feel free, tell us what you think. This is a test. This is our final test. We want to hear what you think. What can make it better? What makes it worse? I probably make it worse, but here we are. We're doing what we love to do. We like to take shots at one another. We have a good time doing what we love to do, and that's what makes this job so special for me. I know for him. Yeah, that's a wrap, man.
Yeah. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at MVI_sports, JSalute10, JNegro_13.
At Jen Caudalupi, right? Is that it? Or MVI photos.
Absolutely.
We wouldn't be what we are. I get credit for getting you this job, though. I love it. I love you. You still take pictures of my kids. Shout out to Curly Sue today. She handed out rocks today. Did you see that? She handed out rocks.
She did.
All right, that's a wrap, man. Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, you're hired. You're monitoring it.